Let's not play games. What I was suggesting, you're absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith, and you're absolutely right that has not
Christian
come
faith.
My Christian faith. What I think is fair to say is that coming out of the Republican camp, there have been efforts to suggest that perhaps I'm not who I say I am when it comes to my faith.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day. Here come Tuesday, oh Tuesday.
It's the lead story. Obama has admitted he's a Muslim, and you've got cover-up artists like Lou Dobbs saying that we shouldn't be talking about a slip of the tongue. Look, the fact of the matter is, if you investigate Obama's background, he was raised both as a Muslim and as a Christian. Now, that's well and good. He should just come out and admit it. I have nothing against moderate Muslims. They're part of the domestic tapestry and the international tapestry. They are as much opposed to radical Islam as I am. The question is, why is he covering up his Muslim faith? Is he, in fact, a member of the moderate Muslim wing of the Muslim religion? I would hope so. You may say, well, how can you jump to the conclusion that he isn't? Because I'm worried about the man. Why? Because of his left-wing communist connections and friends. Now, look, Obama has admitted he's a Muslim. ABC immediately covered for him. In fact, if you listen to that clip, George Stephanopoulos, a hack for Bill Clinton, immediately says to him, you mean your Christian faith? He didn't even realize he slipped a tongue. He was telling you what he was thinking. Play the first part of that again so that people can hear it.
Let's not play games. What I was suggesting, you're absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith, and you're absolutely right that has not
Christian
come.
Faith.
You notice that George Stephanopoulos, the former Clinton apologist, jumps in and says, your Christian faith. When have you ever heard of a newsman covering for a politician? The answer is forever, which is why the newspapers are going out of business, which is why ABC, CBS, and NBC are plummeting. The answer is that George Stephanopoulos covered up for Barack Hussein Obama, and in doing so, he revealed himself in a way that the liberal media has refused to do since he started running for president. In this supposed, quote, slip of the tongue, Obama Hussein referred to his Muslim faith, once and for all exposing the truth about his past. A truth that all the party apparatchiks and all the liberal talking heads in all America have not been able to cover up. Some say it was a Freudian slip. I say it was a different kind of slip. I say it was a truthful slip. Perhaps the most horrible part of this entire incident is the fact that as soon as Obama had said the words Muslim faith, the Democrat lackey George Stephanopoulos stepped in to help him. The words Muslim faith came so naturally to him that Obama didn't bother to correct himself. But Stephanopoulos immediately jumped in and said Christian faith. You know why? The left protects its own. The question is, though, how did Muslim Obama get this far? How did a Muslim stealth candidate manage to become the anointed candidate of one of the two major parties in the United States of America? The answer is very clear. It is the collusion of the media with the Democrat Party. They would rather see someone questionable like Obama in office as long as he's not a Republican. The media covered up this inconvenient truth about Barack Hussein Obama because it did not fit into their storyline. And what is that storyline? The heroic black presidential candidate who would save America from its evil racist past. The media used Obama's race as an excuse to support him and refused to look any deeper than that. Now, even today, when this is the only story worth talking about, the media refuses to give it any attention. CNN talks about the weather. Fox talks about OJ. MSNBC talks about itself. But I, Michael Savage, will talk about this story. I will play the clip of this Mohammedan slip again and again and again until America realizes that it is too dangerous to vote for Barack Hussein Obama. I will play this clip until America realizes that it's a choice between an ex-Navy pilot and a community activist. I'll play this clip until America realizes it's a choice between someone who shot rockets at our enemies in battle and someone who shot staples into a telephone pole. This is the Savage Nation. Plague Blue Monday. It's a very blue Monday for Barack Hussein Obama.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day. Here come Tuesday.
Here come Tuesday. Let me repeat again. We now have a clear choice. As imperfect as McCain is, as liberal as McCain is, we now have a clear choice between someone who shot rockets at our enemies in battle, from a fighter jet, by the way, and someone who shot staples into a telephone pole. You have to make that choice. The question to the audience is this. Here is your question. If you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard independent, has this so-called slip of the tongue changed your mind in any way? And if not, why not? If yes, why yes? Have you made up your mind and has something changed? The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. And let me tell you something else. There's another huge story. For about a year now, I've been calling George Bush a fiscal socialist. He is a fiscal socialist. What would you call a bailout of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac but socialism? If Chavez nationalizes banks, what do you say? He's a communist and he's our enemy? But if Bush nationalizes banks, which is what he has done, what do you call him, a great capitalist Republican? I have told you George Bush is a fiscal socialist. But many of you are moronic. Many of you have no idea what you're talking about. Many of you don't know the first thing about what socialism or capitalism entails. Many of you shouldn't have the right to vote. You're so stupid. How do you like that? I'm getting so angry at my audience, you have no idea. Maybe it's time for me to step off the stage. I cannot deal with morons. I can't throw pearls before swine anymore. George Bush is a fiscal socialist. He nationalized two major banks. Chavez does it, and he's called a communist because he wears a red beret. Bush does it. He nationalizes two banks, and you say nothing? Now, you got to ask yourself, why is Bush nationalizing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? And why are the boards of directors of these two banks not in handcuffs? I want to know why the board of directors of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are not doing a perp walk. They robbed you blind. They stole from the Treasury. They should be in jail, not fueling up their jets to go to Switzerland for another conference on how to screw the American people. They have names. Who are they? Who is on the board of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? Who did this to you? Would you like to know the names? I've given them to you, boys and girls. I gave them to you before the summer vacation, before you cooked your brain on Mai Tais and hot sun. They have names. Why are they not in jail? If you do not pay your tickets, if you have one drink too many, you can lose your car and your license and go to San Quentin in California. But if you rob the American taxpayer to the tune of billions of dollars, or if you shield illegal aliens who gun down innocent civilians in the streets of San Francisco, you don't go to jail. Instead, you go to elected office. This is the savage nation. I'm pissed off. You should be pissed off. You deserve better. You're taking this great inheritance called the Republic, and you are squandering it. You are squandering it, and you have an obligation to yourself, if to no one else. Certainly, I wouldn't say you have an obligation to your country. Most of you don't even know what a country is. I love my country. Do you love your country? If you love your country, why do you let George Bush get away with this? I'm going to tell you something, and I'll say it right now. I would welcome an impeachment investigation of George Bush. You can put me on record for that. I would welcome an impeachment investigation of George Bush and Hank Paulson. Who is Hank Paulson? Hank Paulson is the Treasury Secretary. Why is his name in this discussion? Because he is the former CEO of Goldman Sachs. What does Goldman Sachs have to do with the bailout of these banks? Everything. Everything imaginable. Everything imaginable. You have 5 library books that are overdue by 30 days. You might get a knock on the door and you might be arrested. They could even send a tax squad for all we know. Rob banks for billions of dollars, you get an invitation to the White House. This is the savage nation. The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. There are other stories. Would you like to hear them? Here's one. The U.S. is more communist than China. Who wrote that? Well, isn't it interesting? That's CNBC. It's on michaelsavage.com. They agree with me. Who wrote this editorial? Somebody who knows what Bush just did. It is Jim Rogers, CEO of Rogers Holdings. He told CNBC Europe on Monday the following. He said, the nationalization of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac shows that the U.S. is, quote, more communist than China right now, but its brand of socialism is meant only for the rich. I'll go on with the quote. America is more communist than China is right now. You can see that this is welfare of the rich. It is socialism for the rich. It is just bailing out financial institutions, Rogers said. Did you hear me? He went on. This is madness. This is insanity. They have more than double the American national debt in one weekend for a bunch of crooks and incompetents. I'm not quite sure why or anybody else should be paying for this. I am telling you that unless the boards of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are arrested, there's going to be a tax revolt in America that you haven't seen since the Boston Tea Party, but it'll be no Tea Party. This is the Savage Nation. Pay attention. Be here.
Savage.